Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. No surprise here. The Ukrainians are hitting now inside the Russian territory. Not the Donetsk, Lugansk, Crimea, blah blah blah. No. Russia, Mother Russia. Yesterday they used drones to hit 550 kilometers inside Russia? Well, they do it again today. They did yesterday with two airfields, military airfields, and they damaged two bombers, nuclear bombers, long-range bombers, expensive bombers. And now the Ukrainians are back at it. I think it's legitimate. You attack my country, I attack your country. What am I supposed to do? So I don't, it seems like the war entered a new phase. And the phase is I will, because I have the ability to do that. And it seems like my sponsors and the guys who guide me and actually I think point locations where and how allow me to do this from now on. 550 kilometers within Russia. That means they can hit Kiev, Moscow, Jesus Christ. They've been hitting Kiev, didn't they? So anyway, this article comes from the USA Today, and it is from December 6th, 2022. Ukraine war crosses into Russia as drone blasts rock targets for second day. So, fire erupted at a Russian airport along the Ukraine border Tuesday after an apparent drone strike, while a similar assault narrowly missed a depot 50 miles from the border as defiant Ukraine appeared intent on bringing the war to Russia. Yeah, they will, more and more. The strikes came one day after Russian authorities said a truck exploded at one Russian airfield. Okay, killing at least 3 people, and a drone damaged bombers at another airfield. The drone is the jet-powered drones. Supposedly the Ukrainians had them since the Soviet times, and probably with a new technology attached to it and with the help of guidance, how do you call it, programs and the satellites provided by their bosses, they are able to do it. Low altitude supposedly, and the Russians say there we blew up some of them. Okay. The bases in Russia's Saratov and Ryazan regions are about 300 miles from the Ukraine's border. That's a long-range missile strike. Ukraine has not claimed responsibility for any of the attacks, but Ukraine presidential advisor Mikhail Podolyak taunted the Kremlin on Twitter. Oh, they're great. Yeah, okay. Bravo. So it says Kremlin said it shot down 2 Ukrainian drones on Monday. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the military would take the necessary measures to defend against terror attacks at its bases. How about what if they send it to Moscow? I think that's going to be bad for the Ukrainians. But it's already bad. But as I said, Russia hits civilian targets. I mean, infrastructure, how you want to call them, within Ukraine. What do you think? Ukraine doesn't have the same right of returning the favor? And then why not? Because you're afraid they're going to smack you with something bigger than that. So, other developments. Ukraine Intelligence Directorate Chief Kirill Budanov dismissed talks that Russia could be running out of missiles following weeks of overwhelming strikes targeting Ukraine cities. Now they dismiss it. Yesterday they said, well, they got like 3 more. Then today I read an article, no, they got several more. They can conduct several more attacks, massive attacks on Ukraine, and they don't run low on their missiles. Hey, you've been telling us since mid-April, that Russia is almost done with the missiles. Yesterday, the intelligence again from Ukraine said Russia ran as critically low. That means is when you're like 99% low on its precision missiles. Well, you've been saying this for months already and nothing happened. I saw another article claiming that the Russians are using missiles that were manufactured in October. So that means they're a month and a half, and they're going to be done. Well, I don't like when these guys are giving us oil that's critically low, or they're almost done. Okay, but if you know that, you should know from how many they got, and what's the production. You should know that. Otherwise, you can't claim shit. I mean, you can, but people like me, I will have some questions. Okay, so it says here that Russia has enough weaponry for several more massive missile strikes. Now, this is what he said, missile strikes, he said. The US Secretary modified the advanced HIMARS rocket launchers it gave Ukraine so they can't be used to fire long-range missiles in Russia, the Wall Street Journal said. Now, I don't know if that's really what it is, because they just said it yesterday after the Ukrainians hit within Russia. So I think they want to cover their ass, saying, oh, no, it was not HIMARS, it was those Soviet made. Well, the thing with the Soviet made jet propelled drones were, the statements came from the Russians. So probably the Russians did not want to get the other guys involved or something, saying, yeah, it was those old Soviet missiles. Well, if that's the case, and then it's kind of like strange that the Americans came in the same day, 2 hours or 3 hours after all that, and said, no, HIMARS, we modified them so they cannot hit more than 50 miles, really. So it was not us. So no, don't do it, Russia, don't do it. Do what? Up it to the next level. So it says Biden administration official who spoke with condition of anonymity. The HIMARS have been a crucial component, blah, blah, blah. Anger over the failure to prevent attacks on Russia's bases far from the Ukrainian border has outweighed price for the unrelenting strikes against Ukrainian infrastructure among the influential Russian military blogging community. A Washington-based think tank reports the Institute for the Study of War, not to be trusted, because they made some claims that I read without any backing anything else. They just were using pathos instead of logos, and for me dropped from trust. That's how I started with them. When I started figuring out, oh, wait a second, you just right here, you're not kosher, if you know what I mean. I don't like this kind of things. It's the same thing when I stopped, for instance, watching the History Channel a long time ago. Channels that have all kind of documentaries on the Second World War or historical events and so on. Why? Because they were claiming certain things in their documentaries, in the History Channel, for instance, give you this example, and about events that I knew, and I that was documented from many sources. And these guys put that documentary over there. They made a point ignoring other historical events that might have changed their conclusion or whatever the idea they were pushing, but they ignored those ones just to make this point, because these ones would have nullified their conclusion. But they wanted to push the conclusion because they're hacks. So I said, well, how many other subjects you take on that I don't know anything about, but I have to take you for telling me the truth? No, because I knew in a few instances that's a lie, that's a lie through, how do you call it, omission. Basically, that's what they mostly do, lying by omitting other evidence that would kill your argument. So anyway, I stopped watching those guys because I can't trust them. I watch something that I don't know anything about, and they give me this, and why would I believe them? They lie to me. They hid other arguments to make their point. So done with that. The same with these guys. The art of war, the Institute for the Study of War. I trusted you at the beginning, but then I was like, wait a minute, you did that, until I see the evidence right there, no more. So the Institute of War says the bloggers chastise the military for the security breakdown because the bases were obvious targets. I would agree with that. Russian mild bloggers, forget about that one, mild bloggers. Yeah, I think you should be angry when you have military targets, airfields where you have strategic nuclear bombers, long-range bombers, damaged and you couldn't protect it. I mean, they expect to protect everything, you know, like 100%. But in this case, what can you do, you know? Because if you can't do that, how safe can you feel, let's say, in Moscow? I'm just saying. Or if not Moscow, use a different example, St. Petersburg, for instance, and other towns. So it seems like the Ukrainians stepped up their attacks and their capabilities. Probably they already had the capabilities. They didn't have the order and the approval. Yes, you can attack them. We'll see how Russia will retaliate, because they already retaliated yesterday with more than 70 missiles from caliber, from the like 22 caliber missiles from the Black Sea, from their ships over there. Then they have Sukhoi 35 delivering some guided missiles, and then they have surface to surface. Again, they did that one. Then they have Tupelov 95s taking off from the Caspian Sea area, going and releasing all kind of KH-101 or KH-555 and all that. And now, as the German, I can't remember his name, Zund, something like this. He's a general. He's one of the chiefs of the German military. He said that about, I don't know, 3 months ago, Russia will not run out of missiles anytime soon. When everybody else, the American intelligence, the British intelligence, and the Ukrainian intelligence said, yeah, they're almost done. They're done. They will be done. And the guy said, I don't think so. And they have a massive stockpile of Soviet-era S-300s and mortars and all kind of things that still can do damage. You just close your eyes, push the button, and you release them, and they're not that accurate, but you know, if you send them to a town, I'm guaranteeing you that everything will hit the target of big town. I'm not talking about, you know, a town in Poland, a village of 20 houses where a S-300 just fell on some little cart over there. Anyway, we'll see. I think Russia will lose its patience and will up its game, unfortunately, for the Ukrainians and the Russians. And other people stay outside and they count their money and look at their accounts and they shoot up. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.